My name is Belle Yoeli, and I'm AJC's Chief Advocacy Officer. Thank you for joining us for today's commemorative program, United in Grief and Strength, honoring the lives of Sarah Milgrim and Yaron Lischinsky. We're gathered today, Jews and allies from across the United States and around the world. We're all in shock, we're devastated, and we're mourning two remarkable young people who were friends to many on this call. And we are, of course, horrified by yet another unspeakable act of violence against the Jewish people. This is all deeply painful and challenging, but together we draw strength from one another and we are resilient. I want to thank our close friends and partners at the Conference of Presidents and the Jewish Federations of North America for joining us in convening today's call. We will begin with a reflection, Psalm and Mortar's Kaddish, led by Rabbi Noam Marans, AJC's Director of Interreligious Affairs. Noam, the floor is yours.
When two beautiful human beings like Sarah and Yaron are brutally murdered on the same day, a powerful eulogy offered by King David resonates meaningfully. He said, "Hane'ehavim v'hane'imim b'chayehem uv'motam lo nifradu." In English, the beloved and cherished never parted in life or in death. Our Sarah and Yaron, beloved and cherished, never parted in life or in death. These words were, of course, true for Sarah and Yaron, but 2 nights ago, they also became a new symbol of the inseparable connection between the American Jewish community and the State of Israel. She, an American-born Jew, he, an Israeli-born, brought together by their shared commitment and service to the Jewish state. They represented Israel as an irreversible transformation of Jewish history. Israel means the Jewish people will never again be powerless, and yet the sacrifices can be enormous. Their commitment to humanizing the conflict, to pursuing peace, is not one for the faint of heart. Our modern American Jewish chronicle of pain has a new locus: Pittsburgh, Poway, Muncie, Jersey City, Colleyville, and now Washington, and innumerable anti-Semitic attacks, too many to list, in Brooklyn, on campuses, and beyond. Anti-Semitism is not just a Jewish problem. It is a blemish on the civilized world. It requires a whole of society response. To the world, we say, are you with us? In the last 36 hours, a gratifying cross-section of political, civil, and religious leadership society has begun to say yes. We feel your support. Stay with us in our time of need. Our young people had gathered to do good. 2 of them, Sarah and Yaron, gunned down by evil. Their and their families' lives shattered. As our Israeli brothers and sisters say, Ein milim, there are no words. We are thinking not only of their families, but all who knew them, in King David's words, as beloved and cherished, including my AJC colleagues who knew them or were present at Wednesday evening's event and are indelibly affected. Our Jewish fear is real. Our Jewish resilience steadfast. Our Jewish pride unbreakable. Am Yisrael Chai, the Jewish people lives on. Yehi Zichram Baruch, may the memory of Sarah and Yaron be for a blessing. The 23rd Psalm in Hebrew and in English, followed by the mourner's Kaddish. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai ro'i lo echsar, binodesha yarbitzeni, al mei menuchot shinahaleni, nafshi yeshovev, yancheni b'ma'agalei tzedek למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגיא צל מוות, לא אירא כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי. תשענת ושמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי. ישבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ויומייכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם לעולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
Thank you so much, Noam, for leading us through those prayers. We will now hear from AJC CEO, Ted Deutch. Ted, the floor is yours.
Okay. Belle, thank you. Thank you for guiding us through this. Noam, thank you for the very powerful opening and the beautiful and touching reflection. Hold on one second while okay, sorry about that. Thank you for the very beautiful and touching reflection. I will I will acknowledge that I'm really sorry. There we go. I'm really sorry that that we're meeting, all of us here together today. It is heartbreaking for us to be meeting under these really horrific circumstances, and yet I've never felt it as important to be with our community the way that I do right now. We are immensely grateful for the outpouring of support that we have received from friends and allies around the world, Jews and non-Jews alike. I want to acknowledge that there are so many from our community here today, not just AJC, and not just here in the United States, but our friends and colleagues from throughout the Jewish world, both the organizational world and literally every corner of the world. All of them coming together and understanding the importance of being together in this moment of tragedy. It speaks to the breadth and depth of our community that we're here today. It is a reminder that this is not only about being Jewish or about being Zionists, that this is a moment that is absolutely about being moral, about being human. Wednesday night, Sarah Milgrim and Yaron Lischinsky, two innocent and beautiful souls, were murdered as they left an AJC event that was focused on building bridges through humanitarian diplomacy. It was a meeting that took place at the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. They spent their final evening surrounded by their peers, by Jews and Muslims and Christians alike, all of whom were dedicated to working to ease human suffering across the Middle East. And then they were gunned down. They were stolen from us. They had their entire lives ahead of them. Sarah and Yaron were dedicated to helping Israel, the Jewish people. They were focused on helping humanity. Sarah, an American from Overland Park, Kansas, was warm and compassionate. She was committed to peace building, passionate about sustainability and the power of people-to-people relations. Yaron was born in Israel, lived in Germany for several years before returning to Israel when he was 16. He always had a welcoming presence about him. There was always a smile on his face. And as all of us have come to learn, they were dedicated to one another. As the ambassador told us this week, Yaron was planning to propose to Sarah next week in Jerusalem. For many of us on this call today, for many of my colleagues at AJC, really, we all see so much of ourselves or our sons and daughters, our sisters and brothers, loved ones, friends, in that magnificent and yet tragic photo of Yaron and Sarah that we've all had the privilege to study since their awful killing. This devastating attack, this anti-Semitic attack, is harrowing not just because of the two beautiful souls, the neshamas that we lost, but because we knew that it could have happened to any one of us anywhere in the world. Because our own sense of fragile security has been shattered yet again. The grief that we're feeling is spreading around the world. Our worst fears in many respects have been realized. Jewish communities from Washington to Tel Aviv and Sao Paulo and Paris, everyone is mourning these devastating murders. We talk often about the maxim Kol Yisrael Arvim Zeh B'Zeh, that all Jews are responsible one for another. We are, after all, one people and one family. And in the minutes and hours after this attack, here we are still, even at this moment, that concept has taken on new clarity for so many of us. Together with so many of my AJC colleagues and lay leaders, we have been receiving calls from all over the US and the world asking if we were okay and if they could help. People who saw a crisis and just wanted to help. People who were, after all, like Sarah and Yaron. people who raise their hands because in their hearts, they know that what happens to Jews in one place affects Jews everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are in the world that you're logging in from. You felt the pain and you felt the anguish of the past day and a half. So right now, there is no stronger way to honor the memory of the lives of Sarah and Yaron than by doing more of what we do in all the ways that we do it, more of what Sarah and Yaron were engaged in. We have to do this work together. Pirkei Avot teaches us you are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it. That means that all of us must, in our own ways, do what we can to fight anti-Semitism, to make this a turning point, to make the world understand that we will not just accept this as normal. Speak out and be clear when people chant slogans about murder, when they take the side of terrorists, when they march in the street calling for violence, when they demonize Jews and Israelis and Zionists, when their hatred for Israel is so severe that it turns to violence against Jews, when they mainstream Holocaust revisionists, all of this is the outcome that we should expect. What happened on Wednesday night is a reminder that words have consequences, that anti-Semitism left unchecked can and will turn violent. It's never just the Jewish community that is harmed when there's anti-Semitism. The message that we all have to take to our friends, neighbors, government officials everywhere is that it's democracy that's at risk. It's the values that we cherish. That's what Wednesday reminded us of. Everyone has a role to play in making sure that this doesn't happen again, to ensure that society doesn't tolerate the kind of anti-Semitism, any anti-Semitism that leads to this. So in closing, I would just urge everyone to take the weekend to mourn, to reflect, to breathe. Take the moment to recharge. Here's the thing. Over the past day and a half, through all of our tears, through all of the moments that we have paused to think about Sarah and Yaron, and for all of the moments that we have rightfully taken to hug those close to us just a little bit tighter, for all of those moments, we realize that there is so much work to be done. We need everyone in this fight. We need everyone to say Hineni. We need all of you to work with us, our organizations, create a world where Jews can thrive, where Jews can be safe. In this dark moment, we need each other. The Jewish people needs us. America needs us. Israel needs us. And the world needs us to do this work. May the memories of Sarah and Yaron be a blessing to their families, to their friends, to the entire world. And may we know no more sorrow. I want to thank everyone for hopping on this important meeting with very little notice. And I wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom.
Ted, thank you so much for your powerful words, and also for your incredible leadership through this crisis. And now, to remember and honor Sarah and Yaron further, we will hear from Sam Dreiman, an AJC Access Global Board member and Sachs Fellow, who will speak about Sarah, and Benjy Rogers, AJC's Director of Middle East Initiatives, who will speak about Yaron. Sam and Benjy, welcome you on.
Thanks, Belle. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sam Dreiman. I apologize in advance for my I'm deeply emotional right now. I serve on the Access DC board, the Access Global board, and I'm also a member of the Sachs Fellow program, which is where I first met Sarah. Like others, I became fast friends with Sarah through the fellowship program, which involved an extensive trip across Morocco where we explored the history and connective tissue between the country and the region and the Jewish people, which, if you know Sarah, was really a fitting way to meet her. Someone who had committed herself to seeking understanding, to building bridges between peoples and cultures, and striving for a better world for Jews. What struck me most deeply about Sarah was not her gorgeous red hair, which in my mind is like the most real life version of Ariel from The Little Mermaid I've ever seen, nor was it her piercing and engaging eyes, which looked like they just held a galaxy worth of depth, but it was her courage, her bravery, and her sense of mission. And as someone who does not work on Jewish advocacy issues day to day, Sarah was unique to me as an American working at the Israeli embassy. It takes a truly special kind of person with a sense of purpose, sense of mission, some moral fortitude, real chutzpah, to commit to work that's so important, yet so emotionally and spiritually and intellectually difficult. Who's the kind of person to move to Israel to work in the middle of a conflict? It's someone who's curious, who's filled to the brim with optimism, with hope, and again, someone who's brave, courageous, and filled with purpose. And Sarah was filled with all those things. In the words of some of my other Sachs fellows who knew Sarah well, she had quiet confidence, was so steady and grounded. She was funny, smart, thoughtful. She had depth and levity, with an extensive bank of knowledge and a thoughtful question ready, while also enjoying discussions about lighter things like, which I love, what stylish diplomatic fashion looks like, or how the story of how she and Yaron met. Another fellow said that she loved how obsessed Sarah was with her dog. As a fellow dog lover, you could just feel how much she adored her pup. That kind of detail brings her spirit to life in such a meaningful way. She had dry, stealth sense of humor. She was so funny, sometimes it took you by surprise. Others commented on how mature she was for her age, how resilient she was, how committed to her job was, even though she shared it, how difficult it had been for her. Her values were strong. She upheld them with humility. You could feel, even without knowing her too much, that she had a lot of compassion. Others were amazed at how respectful she was at the sacredness of other people and cultures, particularly in Morocco, towards a culture that depicted hatred towards her and her people, and that she would be a beacon of peace. Following our Morocco trip, I wanted to make sure as an Access leader that I engaged Sarah as much as possible and integrated her into the DC community. Sarah, Yaron, and I all sat together at high holiday services at 6th and I. We saw each other at the October 7th memorial service, also at 6th and I. And I had messaged her about the Young Diplomats event that happened just a few days ago. When I got to the event, I spotted her, and I made my rounds to say hi to everyone, but made sure to save time to catch up with her before leaving. And we caught up as people do in the everyday mundane way. She told me how tiring her work had been, which you could excuse her for, surely. But when I asked her if she was thinking about her next step, she said yes, but she made sure to say she wanted to stay in this space doing that work because she was so driven by the purpose, even in the hardest moments. I couldn't make it to the most recent AJC Global Forum just a few weeks ago, but she told me how much I was missed by our group. She then motioned to Yaron across the room and told me with an excited smile how they were moving in together. They just found a place in Tenleytown. And I called a Lyft car while we wrapped up and told her I had to get going. She said she was about to head out as well. And I told her last that I would reach out to her when another mutual friend would be in town in 2 weeks for us all to get together. And she was the last person I hugged and said bye to before running out to head home. And as I think about Sarah and Yaron, I'm reminded of a poem that I quote frequently in moments like this that reflects how this loss impacts all of us, whether you knew Sarah well or not. And I'll just quote that briefly. It goes, "All mankind is of one author and is one volume. When one man dies, one chapter is not torn out of the book, but translated into a better language. And every chapter must be so translated. No man is an island, entire of itself. Any man's death diminishes me because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. Sarah and Yaron, may your memory be a blessing. We will remember you forever and always. Thank you."
Hello, everyone. My name is Benjy Rogers. I'm actually standing. My apologies for being on a cell phone right now, but I'm standing outside the Israeli embassy, who's having a memorial service right now for Sarah and Yaron. Yaron was a friend. He was someone who I would frequently see around Washington at different diplomatic events. We would always engage in our love for Israeli-Arab engagement, Israeli-Arab cooperation. He, in a city of Washington where there's many loud people, that was not him. He was always someone who, as Sam was describing, like Sarah, would come into a room with a quiet confidence. And he had a smile on his face always that was just warm and welcoming. He was a mensch. He was one of the best. It was important for me to come on this call because, like Sam, I was at the event as well on Wednesday, an event that was all about humanity, and I got to spend a lot of time with Yaron in his final moments. Both him and Sarah had smiles in their face. Both him and Sarah were exhausted, but looking forward to the future. Yaron and I were talking about how excited he was to go home for Shavuot, how excited he was to be home for the first time in about a year, and how he was thinking about what was coming next for him as his diplomatic posting was coming to an end. It's important for me to let you all know that he was happy, and his last moments were filled with joy. So just, I think all of us understand that this has just been devastation after devastation, heartbreak to the point of exhaustion. But these were two very special people who will forever hold a special place in our hearts. Thank you.
Sam and Benjy, can't thank you enough for sharing your heartbreaking but incredibly beautiful tributes. We know this is deeply personal for both of you, and we're standing with you. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. We're now going to hear from several Jewish communal partners from around the world who want to extend solidarity and support to us in this moment. We'll first hear from Gérard Unger, Vice President of the CRIF, our Jewish communal partners from France. And Gérard, thank you for coming on so close to Shabbat. The floor is yours. Gérard, I'm so sorry, we can't hear you. I think you need to unmute once more.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Okay. I'm Gérard Unger, Deputy Chairman of the CRIF, and I am with you to share your mourning and your sorrow, because we have the same. For us, it was a shock yesterday when we learned the attack, the murder attack on two young people in the Jewish museum two young people who were engaged, and it was for us and for you, it was painful and dreadful. We share your sorrow because, alas, we had the same murders in France 13 years ago in Toulouse when a murderer attacked and killed young children. We have the same in 2015 at the Hypercacher in the suburbs of Paris, where 4 persons were killed because they were Jews. And for us, it's the same sorrow when we learned the attack at the Jewish Museum. That shows that anti-Semitism is everywhere, and it is the same everywhere in United States, in France, but also in other countries, like, for instance, Germany or England. That's the reason why we have to be united, and of course we are with other communities in United States, in Australia, in Argentina, in Germany, England, and so on, because the same danger is over us, and we have to fight it. Of course, it's not so easy to fight it because anti-Semitism has many faces, many faces, yes. Anti-Semitism from the far right, anti-Semitism from the far left, anti-Semitism from the Muslims, fanatic Muslims. And it's not so easy to fight it. But our unity is the best way to fight it, and we have to be strong and united against that. And of course, as I said, we share completely your difficulties and your sorrow. We are in contact with AJC regularly, not only in France, but United States. Our president, Jonathan Arfi, and I, we have good contacts with Ted Deutch, and thank you, Ted, for your nice message. And we will continue together to fight our enemies, because we have to be strong and we have to be united. Thank you very much.
Gérard, thank you so much again for joining us. Shabbat Shalom as you welcome in Shabbat in France. And now speaking to us from Brazil, we'll hear from Fernando Lottenberg, Organization of American States Commissioner to Monitor and Combat Antisemitism, and also past president of the Jewish Confederation of Brazil. Fernando, please.
Thank you, Belle. Thank you, AJC, Ted, for organizing this session today. As you mentioned, for sad reasons, but here we are together. When I got the tragic news yesterday of the killing of Yaron and Sarah Lynn, I immediately recalled the book written by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, a Colombian writer, which is called Chronicle of a Death Foretold. The book is a non-linear narrative told by an anonymous narrator in the form of recollections. The book subverts the traditional detective narrative by revealing, right from the start, central points of the crime. The real focus of the book is the reason that led an entire city to allow the crime to occur without serious attempts to save or even warn the victim, despite the fact that it was known everywhere that the murder would happen very soon. My friends, the rise of violent anti-Semitic rhetoric in the US since October 7 that surpassed by far legitimate criticism of Israel and its military actions in Gaza, and much of the discourse in the US took a clear path into anti-Semitism. Calls to globalize the Intifada and by any means necessary have made an attack like we sadly saw, a chronicle foretold with 2 deaths. As Amir Tibon wrote yesterday, the attack is not a wake-up call for American Jews. They have been wide awake and have warned about this rising danger for a long time. This is the deadliest terror attack against the American Jewish community since the 2018 massacre at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. End of quote. And make no mistake, there is no cause and effect relationship between the conflict in Gaza and the rise in anti-Semitism. It is the anti-Semites who take advantage of moments like this to vent their hatred in public, sometimes with words, sometimes with deadly actions. The globalization of the Intifada uses anti-Zionism to encourage anti-Semites to commit barbaric crimes like this one in Washington. The murders, under the cries of Free Palestine and I did it for Gaza, shouted by the perpetrator as he shot his victims, is a demonstration of how far this wave can go. The anti-Israel movement is being transformed into the anti-Jewish movement, bringing a fear to the community that has not been present since the end of World War II. And what we are seeing is the direct consequence of the growing anti-Semitic incitement in places like college campuses, city council meetings, and social media, or even in political speeches by leaders in many countries, acts that help to normalize the hatred against Jews. And we must remember that this type of attack is something exclusive to Jews, a sad privilege. We do not see Russian immigrants being attacked in other countries because of the war against Ukraine, or Syrians or Turks because of the conflicts in which their countries are involved. The idea that 2 young people who are leaving a Jewish event in a Jewish museum 4,000 miles away from the Middle East could be held responsible to the point of their physical elimination for decisions made by the Israeli government can only be explained by anti-Semitism. And that's what it is, and that's how we should call it. We have seen this movie many times, and we die in the end. Our communities need to be vigilant, strong, united, and active. Events like this also show us the strength that we have, as we see today, as a common unit in what we can call this global Jewish solidarity. Our fight against anti-Semitism is permanent and must involve not only the Jewish community, but also government leaders, authorities, special envoys, legislative and judicial branches, as well as society in general. Anti-Semitism, after all, begins with the Jews, but it does not end with us and has dangerous and direct impacts on democracy, human rights, and to everyone. We must remain together, vigilant, and intensely active in this confrontation. We have to show how anti-Semitism must be fought if we want a better world for everyone. Beyachad. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Fernando, thank you so much for joining us, for your powerful words and really call to action. You're right. This is us together, biyachad. We completely agree. It's now my pleasure to bring on Melanie Nelkin, the chair of AJC's Board of Governors. Melanie, the floor is yours.
I want to thank you all for being with us this morning and extend special gratitude to our speakers, who in this moment of extreme challenge, when we are all at a loss for words, have spoken so eloquently to capture how we are all feeling. As you've heard from those who spoke, we stand here reeling after the brutal act of anti-Semitic terrorism that stole the lives of Sarah and Yaron, two young souls with a lifetime ahead of them who were cherished and beloved members of our own AJC network. We mourn in solidarity with their families, the State of Israel, and the broader Jewish community. Sadly, this is a grim reminder of the fact that this is not an isolated incident, but a chilling reflection of the global spike in the hatred against Jewish people that AJC has been warning about for many years. Violent acts against Jews in the name of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the war in Gaza does nothing to further peace in the region, nor does it pave a peaceful path for the Palestinian people. Shouting "Free, free Palestine" cannot be allowed to become an invitation to violence. As we've come together on this call and in our broader Jewish communities, we condemn this unforgivable act of terror that casts a dark shadow over every one of us because it undermines the fabric of our democracies, pitting communities against one another. But under our watch, extremism cannot and will not be normalized. The explosion of Jewish hatred and anti-Israel vitriol from the campus quad to the halls of the UN to cities around the world and now in the US Capitol can no longer be tolerated. We reject any attempt to instill fear in any Jewish community as a justification to glorify terrorism. We are shaken, and we're also grateful to all the many friends and partners that have reached out and expressed solidarity to the broader Jewish community that is standing together in this moment of incredible challenge. As the late Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs said, "Hope rebuilds the ruins of Jerusalem." It is resilience that has led the Jewish people from generation to generation. We will remain strong. We will double down on our commitment to the work we do together against those who choose hate and violence. On behalf of AJC, thank you all so much for joining us in solidarity and strength. United as one Jewish people, we will not be broken. May Sarah and Yaron's memory be a blessing, and may we only see peaceful days ahead. It means so much that you were able to join us on such short notice this morning. And I just want to echo Ted's words, Hineni, and wish you all and your families Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Melanie, for your very beautiful words and for your leadership. In just a moment, we're going to have the privilege of hearing from Israeli Ambassador to the United States, Yechiel later, who is, of course, concluding his team's memorial for the colleagues for his colleagues, of course, who we're remembering today. And that's where Benjy was as he spoke earlier from that memorial. So we're just going to give him a moment as he, I know, is preparing to come on. As we're waiting for the ambassador to join, we've gotten some questions in the chat asking what everyone can do in this moment. And I think we've heard several powerful calls to action, but I also want to share that AJC and the other partner organizations who are on this call, as we all work together really in this moment of unity to continue to build out next steps, both from an advocacy standpoint of what we can all be doing and what we must be doing together. We're going to be sending out more information, how all of you can take action with us, and also how you can extend condolences to Yaron and Sarah's family. And with that, I see that the ambassador is almost ready to join us. Ambassador, thank you so much for being here. We stand with you and your team and the entire state of Israel as we mourn your colleagues.
Thank you, Belle. Thank you all. Is the microphone mine for a moment? I'm sorry, I just joined now.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry, I just came in at this moment. I don't know what was already said. We had a memorial service for Yaron and Sarah here in the embassy, and it just concluded just a moment ago. I can't thank you enough for pulling yourselves together and having this online gathering. I think it's really important that after the tragedy that struck, that we pull ourselves together and regroup. Most important thing is to, as we're commemorating the memory of Yaron and Sarah, that we were able to keep on moving forward. This was an AJC event, and the last thing that we should do is cancel events and go into hiding. I think it's incredibly important that we're moving forward. I'm just joined here with the head of our public diplomacy department, who was actually the immediate supervisor of Sarah. Please join us, Salsa. She'll share a few words about who Sarah was. Yaron, of course, worked just a few desks away from me. He was the senior analyst for one of our senior diplomats. My biggest regret is that I didn't spend more time getting to know Yaron. He was so quiet, unassuming, so professional, lovely, intelligent young man. But he was appreciated more than I can say. And as far as Sarah, I mean, every time I saw her in the building, she was like sunshine, beautiful smile, red hair, and so alive. For me personally, it was a very, very challenging time these past few days. I was on the other side of the knock on the door when the officers in the IDF came to inform me of my son having been killed. And suddenly I was thrust into the position of knocking on the door and informing Sarah and Yaron's parents of their passing. So I'll let Salsan say a few words. And I just really want to encourage AJC to continue your important work and have more significant gatherings and affairs so that we can strengthen our position as Jews, as people who love Israel. And we won't let this assassin, this horrific anti-Semitic and anti-Zionist and anti-Israel effort destroy us, persist. So.
Ambassador, I don't think I've ever been in such kind of a pain. This is a pain that my mind and my body doesn't know, and I wish no one will know. Thank you, Ambassador, for being there and taking care of all of us, and also being there for the hardest call that you could ever do for the parents of Sarah. I spoke about a little bit, about her shortly, and I said if Tikkun Olam was a human being, it would be Sarah. And I know that each one of you, each organization, had the pleasure to work with her and to assess her efforts to bring the beautiful face of the State of Israel to everyone in the United States. Sarah was an extreme professional. Nothing small went out of her notice. She dealt with everything from A to Z perfectly. And only then we could gain her smile that shined and gave us the feeling that everything is okay and we did well. Sarah joined our team exactly on October 2023, when no one else wanted to join our team, and so many friends of her left her because she was serving the Zionist regime. She did choose what she believed in. She was coming every day, being there with all of us, working 24/7 and doing the best to advocate the State of Israel. And even in those hard days when we lost hope, she did not. And she kept an excellent relationship with all our contacts who were also very critical toward the State of Israel. and she allowed that dialogue to continue and going on. In a few days, next week, she was supposed to be traveling with Yaron to Israel, and then she was planning to come back and to stay here for a vacation with her parents. We were supposed to come to take care of Andy, of her dog. Even the dog had the same spirit and soul like Yaron and Sarah. But then we came up with a great idea. I don't know if you have heard about what we call it, the 545 project. It's a huge budget that our Minister of Foreign Affairs brought to our ministry to share the story of the State of Israel, the real one, and to open the doors of Israel for everyone in the United States, mainly youngsters. Come and see before you judge. And the very first delegation that was supposed to go to Israel was the LGBTQ influencers. Sarah reached out to so many important voices in this community. And with her charm, with her professionalism, they are all on board. And she was supposed to lose the vacation with her parents here in order to stay in Israel after Yaron comes back and to be with them. The morning of this horrible matter, I thanked God for blessing me with such an amazing team. Most of the outreach team, all of the outreach team, in fact, joined the department on October 7th, of the same month. And it was very hard for all of us, and we all went into it together. And it took almost 2 years to water this beautiful team with these amazing souls, amazing persons, to become a great voice of the State of Israel, each one in her field. 2 of our team members were with Sarah, and it was a miracle that they were saved. We were very close to Sarah and Yaron when the shooting started, and they called us when they were covering and hiding underneath a car. That evening, I felt that what I was so grateful for, thanking God in the morning, God just taraf et haklafim, as we say in Hebrew, and everything. And I need now to collect my team back again and to be strong, to support our 2 members who survived this horrible attack, and to carry on the memory of Sarah. I hope we will have the power to do so. She did incredible things and advocating for climate topics, science, space, people with disability, women. She was the leading member of staff on combating the denial of the sexual assaults of Hamas. She did so many events, speaking with young women, sharing the stories of these women. And now I'm asking you to share the story of her. Share the strength that she had, the braveness she brought into our team. She was a warrior till her last minute. If you read the report that was leaked, he made sure again and again to shoot her. And she still moved on till the last shot that he made. Sarah was like that also in her life. She would let nothing stop in her way, not even losing her old support circle, who did not want to speak to her when she joined the ministry and the embassy here. And I want you please to carry this on and to tell everyone how an amazing professional diplomat she was for the State of Israel, something that cost her her life. Thank you.
Ambassador Leiter and Minister Sasson, thank you for making the time to be with us. We know you're dealing with so much. We're here to hold your pain with you. As I said, we stand with you, your team, the entire state of Israel, and the Jewish people in mourning the loss of your colleagues. I want to thank all of you on this call for joining, from the Jewish community members to partners and allies from across the United States, including from AJC's 25 regional offices and from around the world. As I said, we at AJC and our partners will be continuing to share information in the coming days and weeks ahead, including how all of us can take action in this moment and to honor Sarah and Yaron. We at AJC are sending strength to all of you as together we mourn Sarah and Yaron, and we wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom, a peaceful Shabbat. Thank you.